All right, all right. I want to go ahead and call the meeting to order. The public meeting of Board of Education for November 7th, 2023 is called to order. All items being considered this evening are posted on the PPS website under the board and meeting tabs. This meeting is being live streamed on PPS TV services website on channel 28 and will be replayed throughout the next 2 weeks. Please check the district website for replay times. Good evening and welcome everyone. We was running a little bit late tonight. You know, we're doing the little thing called bargaining, but we're here. We have to make some adjustments to the board agenda for tonight. So we appreciate your patience with those shifts. We're going to also miss superintendent and some senior leadership this evening. They're needed. They're still at the bargaining table tonight, going over some additional proposals. I gotcha. We were grateful to meet alongside them today and know that everyone is doing a great job representing everyone's priorities and working towards a settlement. Tonight we have a full house, a full agenda. Before I get started, I just wanted to share a few reminders. In order to ensure safety, and please keep walkways and aisles clear, which you're doing, thank you. We also ask you to please be considerate to those around you and keep any signs below chin level in order for the folks behind you to be able to see. We have overflow seating and a viewing area outside under the covered area in front of the building. Once we reach maximum capacity in the boardroom and foyer, we will close the doors and not allow anyone to enter. If we are seated outdoors and are signed up to provide public comment, please check in with our campus security agents who can let you in when it's your turn to speak. So first off, we're going to start off this evening. We are beginning a resolution to recognize National Native American Heritage Month. Student Director Silverstein, would you like to read the resolution?
Thank you. Okay, so do you want me to read the recitals as well? Okay, recitals. Native American Indians are descendants of the original indigenous inhabitants of what is now the United States. The Portland metro region rests on the traditional lands of the bands of the Chinook, Multnomah, Clackamas, Tualatin, Molalla, Kalapuya, Wasco, Cowlitz, and Cathlamet tribes. These tribes established their communities in a resource-rich area where they traded and fished along the rivers and harvested these natural resources that fed and maintained their families. In the 1950s, under federal relocation policy, a large segment of the Native population in the U.S. was forced to relocate to several major cities, of which Portland was one. This has added to the diversity of tribal representation in the region. Portland boasts one of the largest and most diverse urban Native American populations in the U.S. The history of Native American Indians is rich with those who positively influence and enrich our nation, our society, our region, our state, and our schools through their entrepreneurship, commitment to community service, deep value of justice and liberty, and social and cultural life. On August 3, 1990, President of the United States, George H.W. Bush, declared the month of November as National American Indian Heritage Month, thereafter commonly referred to as Native American Heritage Month. Native American Indians have made profound contributions and continue to make advances in education, medicine, art, culture, and public service, and been a consistent and vital influence in our nation's growth and prosperity. The Portland Metro's Native American Indian community is diverse and growing, with the population estimated to be nearly 70,000. As Portland is a relocation site, PPS students represent more than 150 tribal nations. As such, we are humbled by Native American Indian employees, families, and communities' contribution to the accomplishment of PPS's mission. Understanding Native American Indian history is an important part of celebrating Native American Heritage Month. The Oregon Indian Education Association introduced, and Oregon Governor Brown signed into law Senate Bill 13, Tribal History/Shared History in the 2017 legislative session. This bill called upon the Oregon Department of Education to develop a statewide curriculum relating to the Native American experience in Oregon, including tribal history, tribal sovereignty, culture, treaty rights, government, socioeconomic experiences, and current events. Tribal history/shared history is one of the 11 objectives identified in ODE's American Indian/Alaska Native State Plan, in which every school district in Oregon implements historically accurate, culturally embedded, place-based, contemporary, and developmentally appropriate American Indian curriculum. Oregon is one of several states adopting similar efforts to reaffirm the state's commitment in preserving tribal cultural integrity and the education of our citizens. In May 2018, ODE facilitated coordination of the creation of Essential Understandings of Oregon's American Indians, which has been used to develop American Indian curriculum and assessment tools for 4th, 8th, and 10th grades, aligning with state standards in the following content areas: English language arts, science, math, social science, and physical education/health. Portland Public Schools Office of Indian Education, Office of Teaching and Learning, and Office of Schools are engaged in this vital statewide work. As of January 2020, the state of Oregon requires implementation of tribal history/shared history within all K-12 school districts throughout the state. The Office of Schools and Office of Teaching and Learning is working together to support the implementation of this curriculum K-12 as a foundational and fundamental element of our culturally responsive teaching and learning for the students in Portland Public Schools. Portland Public Schools has a racial education equity policy that states our commitment to affirmatively overcome the educational barriers that have resulted in a persistent, unacceptable achievement gap for Black and Native students, and to give each student the opportunity and support to meet his or her highest potential. Closing opportunity gaps while raising achievement for all students is a top priority of the Board of Education, the superintendent, and all district staff. The Portland Public Schools Board of Education believes each and every student is to be celebrated and appreciated for the distinct and vibrant contributions made by sharing cultures, language, ideas, beliefs, and values within a school community. Tonight, we are celebrating Native American students. Resolved. The Portland Public Schools Board of Education hereby promotes November 1st through November 30th as Native American Indian Heritage Month and encourages staff, students, and community to observe, recognize, and celebrate the culture, heritage, and economic contributions of Native Americans to our Oregon and the United States through culturally relevant activity, and to learn from the past and understand the experiences that have shaped the United States. The superintendent or his designee shall work with all schools in the district to recognize Native American Indian Heritage Month through culturally relevant lessons and activities in November and throughout the school year.
Fuck a land acknowledgement. Palestinians are being genocided in Gaza. What about Palestinian families and children? Their families are being massacred right now. You need to acknowledge the genocide. Stop the occupation. Fuck a land acknowledgement. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
Thank you. We
Statement about Palestinian genocide.
all right. Thank you.
Like that bridge, Julia.
We're waiting.
So do I have a motion or in a second to adopt resolution 6782, resolution proclamation, the celebration of National Native American Indian Heritage Month in Portland Public Schools?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any board discussions? Ms. Bradshaw, is there any public comments?
Yes. Jazana Riddlespringer.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jazana Marie Riddlespringer. I'm a recent graduate from Dillard University, which is an HBCU located in New Orleans, Louisiana. I graduated with a bachelor's in political science with a concentration in pre-law. I'm currently working as a project manager here at Teaching with Purpose. I'm here today because I am an advocate for equitable education policies, and I'm also here to show my full support of our teachers. As we speak about the first item on the agenda, the resolution 6782, which recognizes the observance of National Native American Indian Heritage Month in Portland Public Schools, I would like to share a term that I learned from one of my high school teachers, which greatly impacted the way that I chose to view history. The term I'm speaking of is historiography, a term that Merriam-Webster defines as the writing of history. However, for those of us who have a passion for history, we understand that it encompasses much more. Historiography refers to the perspective from which historical events are approached and documented. In other words, how they are told, how the history is told. I believe it is an important concept for all students and educators to be acquainted with, especially when it comes to the teaching and learning of Black and indigenous history, Native history. Histories that oftentimes find themselves being misrepresented, told inaccurately, and sometimes not at all. It is important for us to acknowledge the lack of inclusion within our schools and find ways to ensure that all of our students are getting an adequate education. We do this by ensuring our teachers and educators on all levels have the resources, tools, and professional development to accommodate each student. Specifically, professional development that is centered around equity and culturally responsive teaching, closing the cultural gap in an effort to reduce the achievement gap. At Teaching with Purpose, we provide inspirational professional development materials and courses for teachers, administrators, parents, students, and community members globally, while also advocating for equity in our education system. We are looking for Portland Public Schools to continue their support in our efforts, and we look forward to your partnership. We at Teaching with Purpose thank you for your time and undivided attention.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Bradshaw, is that all public comment? All right. The board will now vote on Resolution 6782, resolution proclaiming the celebration of National Native American Indian Heritage Month in Portland Public Schools. All in favor, please indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
No opposition. Student Director Silverstein, please indicate your vote.
Yes.
All right. Are there any abstentions? All right. Resolution 6782 is approved by a vote of 7-0. Thank you.
That was Native genocide. Land back.
Student Director Silverstein unofficially voting yes. All right, now we have the student representative report or student director report. Would you like to present your report?
Thank you. I feel like I need to address the elephant in the room. And I want to say this is based on discussions with students. And then also today we had a meeting of the District Student Council. So in regards to the strike, students have reacted in a variety of ways. Some have expressed gratitude for a much needed break. Some have taken the time to catch up on overdue work. Some have joined the picket line. And some have expressed fear over all the unknowns. I think we all know this, but it's important to emphasize that students and families are impacted by the strike. Students lose community and instruction. Families have to sacrifice and scramble to find childcare. It's important to also acknowledge the impacts on teachers who are loved and appreciated. They are losing pay to advocate, and there's a mental burden to feeling unsupported. We students see and hear you, and we also thank you for everything you've given us. The common thread among all my interactions with students, though, is the lack of communication, which has let misinformation thrive. In the days prior to the strike, rumors flew that students would lose access to their Google Drives, and these rumors have since been disproven, not by any communication, but by the very fact that I typed this report on my school-based Google account. Now, we rely on elaborate text chains among peers and forwarded emails from parents and guardians to learn whether we should prepare for school the next day. Students have been used as bargaining chips by both sides, and I want to say it's disappointing that I even have to use the term sides when we should be united as a district serving the students. But we feel used, especially considering we haven't been provided with enough information to feel properly educated about the situation. What information has been available has been one-sided and difficult to access. The District Student Council has some asks. First, students to be added to the email updates about school closures. 2, the district to send out remind updates to students as well with updates. 3, for Trivery to continue to be updated and students to be made aware of how to find these updates. And 4, for our voices to be included in these discussions and for us to not just be listened to, but actually heard. Because this is a long-standing issue. The breakdown of trust described by teachers is echoed by students. And to be truthful, it's impacting the functioning of the district. There is distrust at every level. Students don't trust administrators at their school, but they also don't trust the administrators within the district, many times simply because they don't even know who they are. And if the District Student Council, the students who should have the most access to this information, are saying this, what does it say for all the other tens of thousands of students in PPS? Last year, Byron Eves quoted as saying, "I think many people, oddly enough, so many times forget that public education is really to serve students. Even more, we often forget to even ask students about the issues they're really concerned about. The importance of student voice, many of the people making decisions at any level, they're adults, and they've probably not been in a public school classroom as a student in maybe 20 years. And I think that Byrony, who was the previous student rep saying this, shows that there's a lot of context for this issue, and it's been going on for a really long time. How many times do we have to ask to be listened to? Ultimately, the District Student Council wants to emphasize that we're here for the students. We want to talk about the future, because once the contract agreement has been decided on, these issues are going to continue. We are going to need to heal from this as a district. So we want to pose that question of what does that look like for everyone, but especially for students.
Thank you, Frankie. That was great. So next we have student comments and public comments. We'll first start with students. Ms. Bradshaw, do we have anyone signed up for public comments?
Yes. Nima Cruz, Aaron Cruz, and Penelope Hogan Tellis.
Thank you. So first, the board thank you guys for taking the time to attend the meeting and providing your comments. Public input informs and improves our work, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts and reflections. Our board office may follow up on board-related issues raised during public testimony. We request that complaints about individual employees be directed to the superintendent's office on a personnel matter. I want to remind PPS staff that they may not provide testimony about students that could violate confidentiality protections under FERPA. This includes testimony using information that could identify students, especially in their school communities, by the use of direct or indirect linkages, such as school, grades, special education, or other status. If you have additional materials or items you would like to provide to the board or superintendent, we ask that you email them to public comments, all one word, at pps.net. Please make sure when you begin your comments, you clearly state your name and spell your last name. You will have 3 minutes to speak. You will hear a sound after 3 minutes, which means you will have 30 seconds to wrap up your comments. Thank you. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Nima Cruz, CREWS, and I'm an 8th grader at Harriet Tubman Middle School. And I just want to first say that I'm in full support of the teachers. I am a Student with Purpose officer and had the privilege to participate in the Teaching with Purpose conference with Angela Davis. Teaching with Purpose is a conference that is put on by Karaja Cruz once a year. Speakers are brought out to talk about the school systems and to help encourage teachers to be the best they can. There are also breakout rooms that happen, sometimes led by kids, to have discussions about their education and more. I think the district should continue to support this because our teacher union has been asking for racial equity training, and we provide that. Look, we had one of the most revolutionary people of our time, Angela Davis. Come on, let's continue to support. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Hannah Range, that's spelled Rainge. I am a senior at Grant High School, and I have been a Portland Public School student for the past 2 years. I grew up in Georgia, which is a right-to-work state. Georgia is ranked the 8th lowest in the U.S. for union membership at 4.4%. I am happy to be able to see my teachers exercise their First Amendment right, to stand up for what they believe in. The recent strike has given me time to reflect. Our teachers are the hardest working people on the planet. They work to ensure that we, the students, are instilled with the proper knowledge to help build a better future for our world. I am appalled to see that the teachers have to go through this. It is not fair that our teachers have to work in unstable conditions. They should not have to worry about rats in their classrooms or thermostats breaking in the middle of the year. A class should not have 40 kids in it because it disrupts learning and breaks the relationships between teacher and student. How can you possibly ask one to look over 40 kids and ensure that they all get a proper education? I recognize that the strike hurts us as students, and it's not fair for us either. I myself am a senior getting ready for college. The strike raises trouble for seniors receiving letters of recommendation, and it halts receiving transcripts necessary for college applications. This is only a small percent of the equation. The time off from school hurts minority students and students from low-income families the most. Those students who already need to be in school are being deprived of the resources and opportunities that they are afforded through school. It leaves us all with uncertainty and anxiety throughout this time. In closing, I can only hope that a solution is reached soon between the district and PAT. Teachers want to be at work, and students need to be in school. It is important that both sides work together to solve this problem, but it is also important that the district comes up with a compromise that will allow teachers to have a better working environment and more stable conditions. And I stand in full solidarity with the teachers. Finally, I would like to end with a quote. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Malcolm X. Thank you.
Good evening, school board members. I'm Penelope Hogan-Tejas. I'm a student at Chief Joseph Elementary in 4th grade. I'm here to address the teacher's strike. Leaving school for so many kids like me is really hard. For me, I love school and I love engaging in school activities and assignments. School is a wonderful place and I enjoy every minute I am there. So when I heard the teachers were striking, I was really disappointed, but I was mostly proud. I was proud that the teachers were taking action for us, the students. Yet inside, I was outraged that the school board let this go so far that our teachers have had to strike for the wages they deserve and the class sizes we deserve. To me, school is a place to be creative and engage in all sorts of activities, but mostly it's a place with people who understand us, who care about us, and want us to have a good experience in school and in life. So school board members, please do the right thing and accept the PAT contract so me and all the other PPS students can go back to school can go back to an even better school and an even better environment. Thank you for your time, and please do the right thing.
Thank you, thank you. Do we have general public comment?
We do. We have Karanja Cruz,
Thank you,
Peter
guys.
Sachs, Aaron Savage, and Devin Ghani.
Step on up. You can start anytime you want.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was waiting for my name. Hello, my name is Erin Savage, S-A-V-A-G-E, she, her pronouns. I'm a parent of 2 daughters attending Rose City Park and Da Vinci. I was a PPS teacher for 16 years. I had to leave when all of the issues that PAT has asked be remedied in this contract became too much to bear. I miss my students, my passionate colleagues, and my love of teaching history, civics, writing, reading, and thinking. But I had to go. The moral distress of showing up every day, facing huge classes with so many unsupported kid needs, honestly in a decrepit building, became intolerable. I am literally the poster child of what happens to teachers who just can't anymore. I used to see over 160 middle schoolers daily, with classes sometimes hitting 34, 35. In order to give kids meaningful feedback, grading took over my weekends. In order to respond to parent communications, I turned to emails after putting my kids to bed every night. And of all of those too many students, so many had huge unmet needs that our school counselor, psych, and SPED teachers did their best to manage, but there was never enough of them to go around. Only the biggest needs were triaged for their attention. There's no feeling worse in the world than looking at a kid in the eyes and saying, "I'm sorry, there's nothing more I can do," when you know exactly what they need, but you just can't give it to them without a cost to another or yourself. I made my classroom a beautiful space, but it was laughable. Often a brick oven with windows that only opened 3-inch cracks. I taught barefoot to feel cooler. In the winter, knee-length down jackets were the norm. I would use an air canister to blow rat poop off keyboards and desks because we weren't even provided disinfecting wipes at that time. Ceiling tiles fell down from above in a roulette of who they may land on below. The water cooler I paid for with parent donations to make sure we had clean water to drink was removed by the district because I was told it violated a beverage contract with Pepsi. As school shootings became the norm, I became so worried about my students' safety that I purchased escape ladders with my own money and a metal bracket that allowed my door, which only locked from the outside, to be locked in the event of an emergency, despite my pleas to replace the handle. With constantly changing new adoptions, I was on my own to navigate them, as any planning time I was given was occupied by district directives. I cannot think of a single time my colleagues and I were allowed the discretion to actually plan together without an agenda given to us. With all of this, if I was paid well, I might have persisted. I had maxed out on the salary scale in both years of service and education, so at age 40, when I realized I would never make more in my career, and in fact was making less every year with each new contract's raise, rarely keeping up with inflation, it was just too much. I had to go. There is already an immeasurable cost to this strike, and you are just turfing it to families in our community. To be honest, I don't even know the details of budgets and expenses, and truthfully, I don't need to. I just know we cannot afford not to give the teachers what they are asking for. I have watched my own children's classrooms be impacted by all of the things I've mentioned here. These circumstances are not the exception, but the norm. My kids deserve supported teachers who have what they need to show up with the dedication that they do every day. You have already lost me. Please don't also lose them.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Good evening. My name is Devin Ghani, G-H-A-N-I. With me is Amaru Moon, M-O-O-N. I've already spoken to this board about my own experiences with PPS. I'm here tonight in solidarity with all of my union siblings, wearing blue for PAT, green for PFSP, and purple for SEIU. That's 3 unions now that have been pushed to the point of requesting mediation because the district bargaining team has not brought significant offers to the table. I yield the rest of my time after saying this. A letter was put forward to you on September 5th. We are asking you to address sexual harassment as an issue in this district across all unions, not just SEIU. Those demands have not been met. When I spoke to you about my own experience, the response from this board was silence. Despite what your legal counsel has told you, silence is an answer. I yield my time to Amara Moon.
Thank you, Devin. I'm Amara Moon. I'm a paraeducator at Grant High School. I am also a proud Indigenous person, Quechua and Aymara descent. First of all, I love my job. I'm here today because I do not love being a scab assigned to be a reading coach. This violates my contract. My right to not perform struck work is outside my normal job duties and ultimately is a tactic used to undermine both PAT and PFSP during this historic strike. Paraeducators have asked time and time again for relevant, comprehensive training for our positions and gotten nothing. PBS provided no pedagogical training, no medical training, no training on neurodiversity, no de-escalation training, no practical training to me at all before I was placed in a classroom. All I had was how to safely and legally restrain a child. Our union had to fight for years to now have 1 day of training for paraeducators. Yet all of a sudden, when teachers are striking, we get comprehensive training, materials, and support for a role typically done by licensed staff. Did you know that a reading coach typically makes upward of $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year? I make $28,000 a year. Why is it now, when the teachers are striking, there is the ability to train and support us? If you wanted to, you would. So you didn't want to for our normal jobs, but you can now. I find that to be extremely corrupt and disingenuous. We were told in our reading coaching training that we aren't expected to have had this training before and will not be expected to use it again. To me, that is a direct admission that this work only exists to fulfill duties normally done by teachers. Instead of focusing on how to end the strike, PPS is wasting time and energy on replacing teachers with paraeducators, educational assistants, and library assistants, all underpaid, underappreciated roles in our schools. And I'm sure, as you all know, our superintendent gets a bonus for improved reading scores. How convenient. A bonus he earns while spending no time in classrooms, while not even living full-time in Portland. His children don't live in this city, let alone go to Portland Public Schools. Why should I be forced to cross the picket line and perform struck work for a bonus going to someone who doesn't have any commitment to this community beyond a huge paycheck? I stand with teachers and I stand with my fellow PFSP employees. I stand with all PPS employees. I stand with my community and with students who deserve better. This school closure is being treated like inclement weather days, an emergency closure. School hours missed will be made up at the end of the year, but in an emergency closure, no one should have to work. In an emergency closure, we are not asked to be reading coaches. Why are staff expected to work during a school closure? Are you afraid of us unifying with teachers on the picket line? Are you afraid of the worker solidarity growing every day right before your eyes? The main difference in inclement weather, though, is no one has control over the snow or the ice. But here today, the district does have control. You can make the right decision and support teachers and students. This is not a natural disaster. This is a man-made one. I miss my job. I miss my students. I see how hard the teachers work and how little support they receive. I am asking you all tonight to remember who you volunteered to serve. At the end of the day, this impacts thousands of students in Portland, and there is no one else to blame for your own mismanagement but yourself. Thank you.
Now, my surroundings was nothing but negativity. My father died from a crack overdose. You understand? All my relatives were gang members. You understand? I had every excuse to jump off the porch and start gang banging myself. But God had a plan. God had a different plan. I had a different mindset. I was sitting back and looking at all the different situations that was happening around me, and I was like, you know what? I can do something different. I can do something different with my life. The reason why I'm sharing this testimony, because you guys need to understand the reason why I do this work. You need to understand why this is hard work. This is not just because. This is a calling. This is because I escaped the matrix. I escaped prison. You understand? Yes. Now, let me give you some context. The reason why I advocate is because I was able to be the spook who sat behind the door. I was able to get in and become a teacher, and I saw how the system was working. And then I began to see, and I was like, you know what? There's a pattern. Why is so many kids dropping out? So I saw very early on when my kids were in elementary school, and I was seeing the kids that was around them, and they wasn't really getting the proper reading instruction that we're supposed to be getting. And I seen them getting passed on, still reading at the second grade level, still reading at the first grade level. Now they're in middle school, and I'm advocating still, letting you guys know, like, look at these reading scores. Look at the pattern of why these young people are eventually dropping out. And I gave you a particular young person who I've been tracking since my kid's been in pre-K. He's in the 9th grade now. You know what? He's in the 9th grade. He reads at a second grade level. He's at Grant High School with 40 people in the classroom. I went to go visit him the other day before the strike. Guess what his grade point average is? You can imagine. And guess what you think eventually he's probably going to do? And then you don't understand the climate and the music that they're propagating. If they're propagating murder music. So if I'm constantly listening to murder music, eventually I'm going to drop out. What do you think is going to happen? So you've seen all these different shootings and all these different things that's happening. Now you need to understand that's my struggle. So let me give you some more context. Now, I have a business on 16th and Killersburg called Green Muse. My brother, who's a gang member, he passed away in 2020. Now, he was way beyond his years. However, a lot of the young gang members, I guess, knew that he passed away, and we had a celebration before anybody knew. My brother, my mom, and myself, we all sat down. How do we want to be remembered? He was like, you know what? Let's just have a celebration at Alberta Park. I had a celebration at Alberta Park. A lot of my relatives would say, look, the streets is hot. Let's not have it at Alberta Park. You know what? I had to honor my brother. So we still had the celebration at Alberta Park. It was a beautiful celebration. Guess what? It ended out with a shootout. So I'm done sweeping up bullet shells, and I'm walking back to my place of business, and all of a sudden I see a Black Lives Matter march. Nothing but white people, no offense. Black Lives Matter. I'm like, God damn, I'm just sweeping up bullet shells, and you don't understand the struggle that I go through, but yet you're marching. So then I walk into my place of business, I'm hiring young people that look like me to get them off the streets, and then I had some other issues. It put me in a slump. I was in a slight depression because I'm like, look at the paradox. Look, I'm here people marching, Black Lives Matter, I'm sweeping up bullet shells, and then I'm having a business that people barely support. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So then, fast forward, Mike Capes. I don't know if you guys know the rapper Mike Capes. Mike Capes did a post, and it pretty much saved and got me out of my slump. He said, if it wasn't for Karanja Cruz and Rob Ingram, he said, I would not be the man I am today. He told me, and he said in this post, he said, you know what? When you and Rob shared your testimony and how you can go a different route, you don't have to go the gang route, I was actually on my bus to get jumped in. When you guys shared that testimony, I got on a different bus. So now we have Mike Capes, who's also working with youth. So look at the trickle-down effect. So the work that I do is nothing, it has nothing to do with any type of agenda, but to save our young people and the young people that we miss, that we ignore. Yeah. So I'm pleading to you, I have to speak to all four corners of the system. I'm speaking to the board, who directs the superintendent. I'm speaking to the superintendent, who directs the principal. I'm speaking to the principal, who directs the teacher. I'm speaking to the teachers, who directs the students. Empower the students. Okay? I wanted to speak to all four corners of the system and let you guys know to understand the work that I'm doing is way more purposeful. Teaching with purpose is for a purpose. You understand? So we need to have the district continue to support it. I was told that the district was not going to support teaching with purpose anymore. That's what the administration told me. So it's up to the board and it's up to our union and say, hey, we want this racial equity training. Let's get it. Let's have it. We have So I need you guys to understand and hear the community. Hear the community. This is about community schools. I am a union member. I'm a retired teacher. I still pay my dues. I'm a lifetime member.
That's right. That's right.
So I'm asking, in the midst of bargaining, there's a vulnerable group of young people. They need teachers who want to be there. I don't know the way the system is set up now, but they always end up with teachers that don't want them to be there. So if we can create in the midst of bargaining, be like, hey, let's set it up where we can put teachers to direct and focus on those most vulnerable students so we can start raising purposeful, meaningful information and people, not students, people, young people. So I had a whole speech. This is just off the top. This is just in my spirit. I had to just do away with the speech, and I was just looking back, and I'm just like, look at the four corners of the system. But yet, I see these young people every single day just dying and going to jail. Look at the stats. Look at the statistics. How are we only 6% of the population in Oregon, but yet represent 13, 15% of the jail population? Something is wrong. So that is why I advocate. That is why I do these board testimonies. That's why I do my complaints, to get you to understand. Okay? Understand how the system is working and what we can do to maybe save some of these young people.
Yes.
That's all I have to say.
I want to thank everyone for their comments.
That's my dad right there.
Say that. All right, please feel free to contact our senior board manager, Roseanne Powell, if you have something specifically you want to follow up with on the board, with the board or board office. Now, next we have comments from our union partners. Come on up.
Good evening. Last month I shared that our members wanted a contract that would allow our entire school community to thrive. Friday afternoon, PFSP reached out to the Employee Labor Relations Board to request mediation. SEIU requested mediation the same day. And PAT is currently striking. We are encouraged to hear that the chair believes we're working towards solutions because my members have expressed to me that they are currently in a crisis of faith with the administration of Portland Public Schools. I have members reaching out to me every day disgusted by the fact that they've been asked to coach for our lowest scoring students. This morning, a woman asked me how she, someone who immigrated from the Soviet Union, was supposed to support students in phonics when she herself struggles with English pronunciation. An educational assistant was concerned that she was assigned to work with a nonverbal student when she has no special education training. Library assistants across the district have asked me why, when their jobs are clerical in nature, they suddenly are being pulled in for student-facing jobs. My members in PFSP deserve more, SEIU deserves more, PAT deserves more, our students deserve more, and our communities deserve more. All of our labor has dignity. We deserve contracts that honor and respect ourselves and the students that we are all here to serve. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Charlotte. I am a paraeducator at Pioneer. I am also a PFSP member, and I love my job and I love working with our kids. Up until now, I've been working in an elementary life skills classroom, mostly with nonverbal students. Our team works to teach communication skills and life skills like hand washing, brushing teeth, and self-advocacy. This week, the district has assigned me to some second graders I have never met and expects me to be their reading coach. On Wednesday and Thursday, I received a few hours of online training and printed out a curriculum I have never worked with. There's so much information, and I'm very overwhelmed. It is a special kind of punishment to watch my colleagues from all over the district stress out because they are being asked to do something they are not prepared for. Seeing longtime paras, EAs, library assistants close to tears because they are struggling to navigate technology they have never had to use. It is my understanding that most parents are opting out of this because they are choosing to support our teachers and are able to see this for what it is. A performative gesture with no thought about the students and whether this is helpful for them and their families. I did notice that no Pioneer kids have been offered this service, so we can't pretend this is equitable either. There is so much wrong here. I have not talked to a single PFSP member who is comfortable with this new job. I have not talked to a single reading coach who feels they have been adequately prepared to do this. Personally, I'd love to be making badly needed materials for my classroom and using this time to plan things for kids I usually work with. Last but not least, the industry rate for reading coaches averages at $67,000 a year, which is more than double what I make. Oregon law forces me to cross the picket line as a public sector employee, but I stand in solidarity with all of my union siblings and will do my best to help support my community. Thank you.
Can you direct the superintendent to stop this? Do you have that power? This district is falling apart. Director Hopkins, do you have that power? Can you fire Guerrero?
There's no reason he should make $300,000 a year.
What happened to the BBC, bro? How many?
Good evening. My name is Chris Walters. I am part of SEIU, although you can see by the blue chef coat that I am standing in solidarity with PAT. I came and sat in front of this board about 5 or 6 months ago and talked about the importance to our bargaining team that the district provide living wages for employees in the Portland area, for not just SEIU members, but also PFSP members. And we filed for mediation on Friday, as did PFSP. The district's latest proposal does not even meet a $20 floor, similar to what PFSP has now rejected twice. I'm presuming not because you all want less money. So, yeah, that's where we're at, and we're not particularly pleased as well. And we are fully standing in solidarity with PAT and with PFSP and DCU. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Angela Bonilla, and I'm the president of the Portland Association of Teachers. As always, I will start with kudos. So a kudos to all the staff in our schools providing meals, maintaining our buildings and our classrooms, and doing the best they can to work their contract during our strike. A kudos to the parents and community who've been out on the streets with us, who signed on to the letter to the school board demanding they bargain in good faith. Kudos to every educator on the line for fighting for great public schools for all Portland students. And I'd also like to give a kudos to the board members who've been listening to our legislators, our community, our parents, our students, and our educators' call to attend bargaining. And an extra special kudos specifically to Director DePass, Vice Chair Green, and Chair Hollins for joining us at the table today to talk about what settlement looks like. Kudos for listening to our bargaining team for almost 3 hours as we shared our bargaining priorities and for coming back to share the district's priorities. What we shared with the board was what we've shared for the past year. The status quo will not do. We have 3,700 educators on strike because we need change, because our students need and deserve better than what we've been able to give them. And we shared that a path to settlement means real, tangible improvement on these 6 priorities. A cost of living adjustment that is close to the rate of inflation, smaller class sizes, increased planning time and planning days, special education supports and staffing, mental health supports and staffing, and healthy and safe schools and facilities. Today, because of the board members at the bargaining table for the first time in about 10 months, I felt like we finally had a breakthrough at the table. It is unfortunate that we had to wait until 40,000 students were out of school and 3,700 educators were on picket lines for us to see that breakthrough. But what we've seen during those 9 and 10 months instead has been a lack of movement. We made it clear from the start that we needed help. We made it clear that we cannot keep going this way, and we will follow the legal timelines provided by the state to get to a settlement. This strike was not a surprise, and it was avoidable if only we were heard and believed. And yet for 9 months, similar to our colleagues in SEIU and PFSP, we continued to come to the table to receive barely any proposals or our proposals returned with completely struck out new language. For 9 months, our PAT bargaining team, they took time out of their schools because they are working every day in our schools. They came out of their schools, out of their classrooms to bargain with our district managers to try to get to a settlement. And yet for 9 months, we had to deal with Twitter rants and trolling, emails with lies about our health insurance, and communications from HR that were designed to stoke fear in the hearts of our educators, and a communications team that is more interested in making us look like villains to the very families we serve. And yet, when we were down in Salem lobbying for additional funding during bargaining, our superintendent did not ask for more than the current service level. The status quo was good enough. I wish that energy was used to work on proposals and avoid a strike, because if it was, we wouldn't have to be here. But the actions of PPS management and the communications team have taught us that they care more about winning than putting our students first, because we know that we cannot put our students first if we put our teachers last. So with this new breakthrough, we will do everything it takes. We will be bargaining and working on proposals tomorrow and the day after. We will keep bargaining, we will keep picketing, we will keep standing up to build something better than what we've been given in order to do better by our students. And as president, I know and trust that our members and our community will keep fighting for our students, because we know that when we fight, when we fight, when we fight, thank you.
All right, so.
She needs to.
I'm going to make a motion to. Okay.
All right. So next on our agenda is the naming of school communities and their mascot. Do we have Karina Wolf in attendance? Awesome. So she's going to present this.
Hi. Good evening, school board members. It's our honor to be with you tonight to share and to celebrate some of the very good work that's happened with an amazing team of leaders and students, staff, community, and parents and family members within multiple pathways to graduation. So we have multiple items to bring to you, and so I'm going to introduce various people who are going to speak about the specific items. So to start, I'm going to invite up Allison Adams, who's our amazing Vice Principal of Modernization for Multiple Pathways to Graduation. Allison has led us through this process. And I'm also going to invite up Principal Max Whitehouse, our principal of our DART schools, our day and residential treatment schools. And Allison and Max will start us off.
Thank you. Before I get started, I just have to give some appreciation, especially to those of you that were here when this started. So a few years ago, a group of programs, so 2 schools and 2 programs, Alliance High School and one of the DART campuses, and the Reconnection Services and Teen Parent Services, we found ourselves without a building, and many of us were nestled inside of Benson High School, and we didn't know where we were going to go, and they didn't really have a plan for us. And through some pretty powerful voices of students, we are now here today naming that building and giving our schools, thank you, our schools and our programs a kind of refresh. And so I just want to express my appreciation as programs in schools that often get forgotten and stuck in basements. This was a really powerful experience for our community. So just had to start there. And then I'm just going to give you a brief kind of overview of what we did. So we are a very unique project. We are building a building where we're housing Alliance High School, as I stated, one of the day and residential treatment campuses, Teen Parent Services, and Reconnection Services. So the first thing we had to do was name a building, which was super exciting. So we got a group of stakeholders together from each of those communities and started holding meetings, committee meetings, to name that building. Through that process, we also acknowledge that one of the DART campuses was named Clinton School, which was named after the time that it was on Clinton Street, like 20 years ago?
Moved in 1980.
1980. So we decided it was time to rename that campus. And then we're super excited to be merging 2 of the Alliance campuses into one high school. And in order to do that, we were able to, we needed a mascot in school colors. So we worked on that as well. So we're here to present all of these new exciting things to you tonight. And I'm going to hand it to Max to present some of the DART changes to you.
Okay, so thank you. We and DART, so DART stands for Day and Residential Treatment. We have 5 campuses. One of them is housed in a PPS school. And Clinton School moved from Clinton Street in 1980, so it's been a long time, bounced around from different PPS buildings for years. We're really excited to be able to be a part of this new MPG building. So we went through a process with students and community to find a new name for Clinton School, and through a lot of work and mostly student voice, we landed on Kuumba. And if you look, Google Kuumba, it is one of the tenets of Kwanzaa, and it means creativity, and this is what you'll find. It says to do always as much as we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. And at this school, we really work hard to create a community that allows students to be creative, allows students to shine through their creativity. And a lot of that is how we engage them in their learning, and a lot of it is student-driven. For instance, we have a student right now who's invested in being a mechanic, and one of the projects he's working on is producing a radio commercial for his favorite vintage car. So he's writing the commercial. We have a recording studio. He's going to record it. So that's just one of the examples of how we make sure student voice is really a part of it. So the word Kuumba really does embody the work that we do with our students. And it's not lost on me that they chose such a creative word. And then for our mascot, so this is going to be for all of Dart schools. We went through the process, and years ago, I wasn't part of it, but there was a logo that was created, and a lot of people who were a part of that process still work for Dart, and they are really attached to the logo. So we decided to not stop using that, but we also thought it would be fun to have a mascot, especially as we joined this new building. And so we landed on the Dart Frog. It's kind of a no-brainer, you know, the name itself, but also, you know, the Dart Frog became a forerunner. A lot of things were proposed, and that one was chosen, and it's fun because this is a poisonous animal, but it gets its poison from the environment that it's in. And if a dart frog is in captivity, it's not harmful at all. And so if we think about our students and the challenging lives that they've lived, and sometimes unmentionable traumas that they've experienced, and they come into these treatment programs. Once they feel safe and supported in the programs and in our classrooms, they kind of let that exterior go. And so the Dart Frog does kind of match that. They're also really cute and colorful. So that's what we've chosen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Principal Whitehouse. Next, I'd like to invite up one of our amazing, brilliant, resilient Alliance former students, Jupiter, as well as our new principal of Alliance High School, Principal Aaron Ferguson, to talk about Alliance.
Hi, I'm Jupiter. I was at Alliance as a junior, senior, and super senior, and I graduated in 2021. I despised school before I went to Alliance. I was out of school for around 2 months before I joined Alliance and went back to school again. I think there should be a lot more options, just like Alliance, for similar students like I was really depressed. I was paralyzed with fear and anxiety, and Alliance gave me hope. Now I'm inspired to continue school and work in like future versions of school, different ideas of school. After years and years of failing classes, I believed I was stupid, but once I started going to Alliance, that changed, and I felt supported, and I felt a sense of community that I didn't feel before. Borrowing space and borrowing time isn't sustainable, so I think having a building dedicated to these schools like Alliance is completely essential. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm Aaron Ferguson. I'm the principal of Alliance High School. I also just want to start out by expressing some gratitude for this process and for this new facility. I've had the chance to get in and walk around, and it's an incredible, incredible space. I can't wait to have you all come and visit. And you know, everybody from Alliance that's had the chance to walk through has come out just inspired, and I think really impressed with the support of this board and PPS for everybody in Alternative Pathways, all of our students and everybody on our team. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the king snake, which is the mascot that our students voted on and chose as the symbol of Alliance High School. The king snake is a native snake to Oregon, making it one of the few mascot choices that offered local representation. The king snake is adaptive to many environments as they can traverse water and land, representing Alliance students' adaptability and mastery of change. Known to be immune to the venom of other snakes, as well as coming in a variety of lengths and colors, king snakes represent the resilience and diversity of Alliance High School community. So, go king snakes.
Awesome, awesome.
Okay, thank you, Team Alliance. And now we're going to shift out. And lastly, I'm going to invite up, I'm going to introduce one of our Multiple Pathways to Graduation students who was on our naming committee, and her voice was instrumental on our naming committee and guiding our work, Rain McClawhorn, and she will share with Allison about the significance of place and space in our Multiple Pathways buildings before I close this up.
Hello.
Okay, my name is Rain McLaughlin. I appreciate the time I get to talk to you all tonight. Teen Parents started helping me in 2018 before the birth of my son, Kaijani. I graduated from Benson High School in 2020.
Tech man.
You know.
No, in 18 it was a Techman. Let's be clear.
I think it's still Techman. I think so, but
We call it Astro. We
Really?
call it Astro
That's
Tech.
so embarrassing. Oh my goodness.
I feel your pain.
I'm a Techman.
I feel your pain. Right?
But I graduated with the help of the Teen Parent Program. The Teen Parent Program provided many services that helped me graduate. I had access to childcare, tutoring, a social worker who helped me find housing, home instruction, and with help with college counseling to get started this year. I attended weekly parenting classes with my social worker and met with tutors on a consistent basis. One thing that stood out to me was the lack of available space to us. When I met with my social worker, quite often, she did not have an office where we could meet privately. We met in conference rooms where other people could hear us. In addition, I did not have a set space to meet with my tutors either. I was there when we broke ground on the MPG building, and I took part in the naming committee. And it felt good to meet with students and teachers and community leaders to help come up with a name for an important building. And in the end, after much debate, we decided to land on letting the tribe name the building because it's on land that belongs to them. I'm so glad that the future Teen Parents will have a space dedicated to them where they can gather together and learn about parenting and build community. That was not something that was available to me when I was in school. I am very excited that all these programs that are a part of Multiple Pathways to Graduation are going to have their own space now. And it seems like finally somebody is listening to us. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, thank you. Go Tech.
So, Rain shared that, so we went through sort of the traditional naming process, and through that process, the community voted to work with elders of the Chinook tribe, and I think a few other tribes as well, to name the building. Several of the votes, many of the votes that came in were to honor the space and to name it a Chinookawa word. So we consulted with elders and learned that we pivoted a little from a traditional competitive process. So when you work with the elder community, you work with them to name the building as opposed to you bringing a list of names to them and them choosing the name. So we had a great experience bringing stakeholders and elders of different communities together
And students shared a list of kind of things that that building meant to them. And what we landed on was many future paths. So in English, the word is many future paths. And in Chinook Wawa, I am practicing this. It's a work in progress for me.
The name of the building is Hayu Ashki Uihut. Hayu Ashki Uihut.
Uihut. Yeah.
Yep. Uihut.
Yep. And we're actually working with some of the architects and designers of the building to figure out a way that maybe we can have it pronounced, like you could hold up like a QR code, or so that we can really, I think it's really important to us that we work with the community to understand how to pronounce it correctly. So that's a piece of it as well. Yeah.
And I'd just like to, thanks Allison, and I'd just like to end with gratitudes. So one of the things that was really clear in this process is that we had the support, lots of support to get to this moment. And so Allison, for years, has led us through this process. Director Brim Edwards has been our board member on the DAG, supporting the process of this building and this creation. And I also like to say that we came up with a timeline, an internal timeline that we did not meet. And when we did not meet it, because we were listening to our community and to our tribal communities, I just want to really give a shout out to our superintendent and our chief of staff, because they were absolutely understanding and we had their full support to do things in a good way. So I just want to appreciate that. I think one of the things that is paramount in this process is when we think about students who are not visible, frequently not visible, making sure that we took a process and made a process where students had a voice, where families had a voice, where our staff had a voice, and where we listened to our tribal communities. So one of the things I would like to do is make sure that they were not able to be here this evening, but I want to really end with gratitude for our 5 tribal members who provided us and guided us through the way. So Katie Holland is a Siletz tribal member who provided tribal consultation from the Siletz tribe, as well as she's an early educator who's been around, and she's an elder and a mentor to many, including myself. So we could not have been here without Katie, who really guided this process. She also enlisted Nick Viles, who is also a Siletz tribal member and the tribal language specialist from the Siletz tribe. So I'd like to thank Nick. From the Grand Ronde tribe, we worked with Greg Archuleta, who is also an elder and specialist in language and culture, and as well as David Harrelson, who really was instrumental in getting us into, if we were going to do a process for naming this building that was in a traditional path, what would that look like and what would the steps be? And so I appreciate both Greg and David for their guidance. And then lastly, I'd really like to thank Rachel Cushman from the Chinook Nation. So Rachel is a Chinook tribal leader, and she works tirelessly and also gave lots of guidance and feedback on different suggestions that came up from different students and from the list. And so I'd also like to thank the Chinook Nation and specifically Rachel Cushman. So I'm look forward to celebrating them all in person and honoring them all in person at the grand opening at the end next fall. So with that, I just appreciate the work of everybody in Multiple Pathways and all the folks that came together to make this night. Most importantly, our students who came tonight to be with us. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you. So what am I gonna do, because we got like 4 of them, I'm gonna try to combine them all together. So do I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 6784, resolution to name the Multiple Pathways to Graduation building, and 6785, which is the resolution to change the mascot of Alliance High School, and 6786, which is to rename the Dart Clinton campus, and 6787, resolution to create a mascot for Dart schools. Need a motion and a second.
So moved. Second.
Okay, hold on. So Director Green, motion. Director Brim Edwards, second. Is there?
DePass moved.
Yeah, she moved.
Okay, Ms. Director DePass moved. You kept you was talking.
I was talking.
And Director Brim Edwards, second. Okay. Is there any board discussion? Hearing none? No, I'm joking.
You know, I couldn't miss the opportunity because I just want to reflect back. Years ago when this all started, it actually started because when Benson was starting to do the remodel, and it was.
Oh, sorry.
Well, this wasn't the finest moment, I would say, because it was, we have all these programs that are in our school that they need to go somewhere else. And I think it was generous, Allison, to say nestled, because it actually sounded nurturing and a part of the larger school. And the students who spoke up, who came and spoke up and advocated for themselves, made it really clear that they didn't feel welcome in the larger community and they didn't have a space. And they were kind of stuck wherever there was like an open room. And today would have not happened but for those students and the staff who advocated for them, who who take care of all the students in the different programs. And to me, it's I think throughout the process, I love the non-competitive process that you described for the name, because in some ways, it's so reflective of the conversations that happened early on about the importance of place. When we're all stuck in classrooms where we feel not welcome, where we don't have the same type of facilities, it sends a message about our place in PPS. And so I think it's great that we're here, and I can't wait to have the day that we open that building, because it's going to be a beautiful space, and it's exactly what the students advocated for and what they deserve. So I want to thank everybody who was part of the process, because it's going to be a great gift to all those students and to the leaders of the program.
I'm really excited to see this development as well, as a graduate of a Portland alternative school that I had a choice of going to, and great things can come from students that go to alternative school, especially if you're allowed the freedom and the creativity I think you mentioned earlier, to really blossom. So congratulations, and I look forward to the invitation to the open ceremony.
I'll just say really quickly, I really appreciate that you worked with some of our tribal government partners on these renamings. I think that's a really important as we continue to work to strengthen those ties with our tribal community. So thank you for doing that work.
I was wondering, what is the translation of the school name?
Many future paths.
Many future paths. Nice.
Hayu Ashki Uihat.
All right, any other board comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for doing such a good job including students in this process. It means a lot.
Yeah, just really quick. I was actually at Benson when Alliance was there, and I always felt bad that, Alliance just didn't feel like they had a home, and so this is really exciting. I'm really happy this is happening. Thank you. And your names are awesome. I just have to say, way more creative than when I was a kid. I wish it was this creative when I was a kid, but yeah.
All right, any other board discussion? Ms. Brashaw, is there any public comment?
No.
All right, the board will now vote on Resolution 6784, 6785, 6786, and 6787. All right, all in favor, please indicate by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Hearing no opposed. Any abstentions? All right. Student Director Silverstein, please indicate your vote.
Yes.
Awesome. Hearing no abstentions, Resolution 6784, 6785, 6786, 6787 has all passed with a approval of 7-0 with our student director Silverstein unofficially voting. I don't like that unofficial stuff. I know, but yes. All right, yay, yeah, we can clap, we can clap. Next, we have the appointment of members of the Community Budget Review Committee. Next, we'll vote on to appoint 3 new members to the District Community Budget Review Committee, also known as CBRC. Director Sullivan, as board liaison to the CBRC, is there anything you would like to share about the applicants and the process for reviewing and selecting the 3 members we will appoint this evening?
Oh, yes. Thank you. I didn't know I was going to do this. Yes, I was on the committee that read the applications and interviewed, and I can just say that there are so many wonderful people in this community. I think we had at least 15 to interview, and they had, I think, over 30. And I think we had a committee either between 3 and 4 people on different days, different people who did the interviewing. And it was just a pleasure to see the wonderful people who are out there, and also to think that I will be able to work with them. So anyway, it was great, and I'm excited about it.
Can we get a motion and a second to adopt?
So moved.
6?
Second.
Okay. So y'all act like y'all want to be here a long time. Director Scott, motion. Director Brim Edwards, second. Is there any public comments?
No. Are any of the people here now? I think,
2 virtually.
yeah.
They're on screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Oh,
right.
there you are. Okay, I'm looking in the wrong
Would
place.
you guys like to say a word or two? You don't have to.
I'm just really excited to be a part of this experience. I've been working in silos with PPS in different areas, so this is a great opportunity for me to be more aware of the way the budget works, but also to give some insight into what parents are feeling and some of the community's needs at large. So I'm just really happy to be a part of this experience.
And just to know, you know, she's a fellow Techman as well, so I'm just
I
thought I'd
am,
put it out
Gary.
there.
We also have Jen Gray O'Connor.
Hi, yeah, just echo the same sentiment. So pleased to be able to serve as a parent, as a community member. I'm excited to be invited into the process and to be able to contribute my thoughts and the thoughts of the folks I'm in community with. So thank you.
Awesome. Aaron?
Hello. Yes, I'm also excited to get involved, and 2 kids just getting started through the process. So I figure I've got skin in the game and should you know, try to help out as I can.
Awesome. Go ahead, you want to speak?
Yeah, I was just going to say thank you to all of you for applying. Thanks for going through the process of the application. I've done a lot of recruiting for folks over to budget committees over the years. It is very, very difficult. I was extremely impressed reading through your applications. I think the 3 of you are going to be excellent additions to what really is a very important committee for Portland Public Schools. So thanks for staff for doing it. Thanks for Patty for helping out. And most importantly, the 3 of you for volunteering your time. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. Any other board discussion?
First of all, thank you, the 3 of you, for agreeing to serve in this capacity. It's super important for us to have a lot of other perspectives besides just the board's perspective when we get the superintendent's budget. So I'm looking forward to your feedback, your insights, perspectives as we get into the budget process. Last year, we had an amazing report from the committee. One of the things I noticed is that we don't have any students, and I would just hope that we continue to recruit, because especially in a year in which we may have to make reductions, it's going to be super important to have students, and we shouldn't just look to the student rep to recruit students. We all know students. So I hope that we make that a goal for the board to find some students to serve on it, because, like I say, we don't want to end up in a process where it's not informed by student voice.
Well, maybe if we provide a stipend or a credit or something, maybe we can get some students on there. Just a thought. Just a thought.
I think we should. I think we should. With the possibility is that
All right.
because if you're on DFC, you get a quarter of a credit.
I feel like, do I need to turn this on? I think, yeah, but I don't know how many students actually ever get that. Like, it's technically in there, but.
Okay, I think that's
We'll look into
a
that.
great. Okay,
All right.
I'm gonna check back with you.
Okay. The board will now vote on resolution 6788, appointment of community budget review committee members by voting yes. We're appointing the members of the CBRC for 3-year terms through June 30th, 2026. All in favor, please indicate by saying yes.
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 All right, no opposition. Student Director Silverstein, please indicate your vote.
Yes.
Awesome. Hearing no abstentions, resolution 6788 is approved by a vote of 7-0, with Student Director Silverstein voting yes. All right, thank you guys. Look forward to seeing what you guys do. All right, next on the agenda is time for the board committee and conference reports. Board members, if you would let me like to know if you'd like to provide a report or not. All right, hearing no one jumping to the gun, we'll move on. Consent agenda. The board will now vote on the consent agenda. Board members, if there's any items you would like to pull for discussion, we will set those aside for the next time we meet. Director Brim Edwards, I understand you have an item to flag for the board before we vote.
Yes, there is an item, and I don't have it in front of me, but it relates to a grant from the Children's Levy, and in my capacity at Multnomah County, I serve on the Children's Levy Grant Allocation Committee. So it's not a conflict since we're giving money to PPS, and I serve in a volunteer capacity, but I just want to disclose out of an abundance of caution.
Thank you. Ms. Bradshaw, is there any changes to the consent agenda?
No.
All right, so hearing no one like to pull any items, do I have a motion and a second to adopt the consent agenda?
Motion.
Any other board discussions? All right, the board will now vote on resolutions 6791 through 6795. All in favor, please indicate by saying yes.
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 All right, hearing no objections, Student Director Silverstein, please indicate your vote.
Yes.
Chair Hollins, can I please confirm that was Director Green moved and Director Brim Edwards seconded that motion?
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry about that. All right, the consent agenda is approved by a vote of 7-0, with Student Director Silverstein voting yes. All right, anything else? Meeting's adjourned. Yes, 7:35, 5 minutes.